Russia-Ukraine Live News, US boosts military aid to Ukraine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has promised a further package of military support for Ukraine after meeting with Zelenskyy in Kyiv. The £54 million, $63.5 million, package will include 200 drones and loitering munitions to enable the Ukrainian military to better track and target invading Russian forces, Johnson's office said in a statement. The UK will continue to stand with our Ukrainian friends. I believe Ukraine can and will win this war, Johnson, who has less than 2 weeks left as Prime Minister, said on Twitter. Al Jazeera's Kimberly Hulkett, reporting from the White House, says the latest U.S. package of military aid for Ukraine is that the UK will continue to stand with our Ukrainian friends. I believe Ukraine can and will win this war, since Russia launched its invasion in late February. It will include anti-armor and anti-aircraft missiles to use against Russian tanks. It will also allow for the acquisition by the Ukrainian military of air defense systems, artillery systems and munitions, Hulkett said. It will include anti-armor and anti-aircraft missiles to use against Russian tanks. It will also allow for the acquisition by the Ukrainian military of air defense systems, artillery systems and munitions, she added. Initially, what U.S. security assistance, for Ukraine, was focused on was immediate needs. In other words, the Pentagon supplied what it had in stock, and shifted it over as quickly as possible. But now, what this is going to be is the utilizing of U.S. Department of Defense contracts to purchase for the long term. Ukrainian presidential advisor Mikhailo Podolyak has dismissed Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko's Independence Day greeting, branding it cynical and blasting Minsk for allowing Russia to stage attacks from its territory. But now, what this is going to be is the utilizing of U.S. Department of Defense contracts to purchase for the long term. Podolyak tweeted. AMD is why he cynically wishes us a peaceful sky while allowing deadly rockets to hit us, he added. Lukashenko's statement earlier on Wednesday stood at odds with some of his recent declarations of support for Russia's invasion of its neighbor. The head of Russia's state nuclear energy agency has held a meeting with the chief of the UN's nuclear watchdog to discuss an anticipated inspection of the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in southeastern Ukraine. Head of the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA/Agency Rafael Grossi and Rosatom chief Alexei Lihachev met in Istanbul on Wednesday, the Russian Nuclear Energy Agency said in a statement. Grossi and Lihachev discussed in detail all the issues relating to the planned IAEA mission to the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, Rosatom said. The Russian side shares the intention to organize such a mission in the near future, as soon as the military situation on the ground allows it, it added. The United Kingdom imported no fuel from Russia in June for the first time since records began 25 years ago, as sanctions on Moscow in response to its invasion of Ukraine helped drive a 97% fall in imports of Russian goods, official data has shown. The UK government has banned the import of some Russian products and hiked tariffs on others as part of its economic sanctions package. It has also said it will phase out imports of Russian oil and oil products by the end of 2022. The Office for National Statistics, ONS, said there had been a sharp and continued decrease in fuel imports from Russia since March, with June's zero imports representing a decrease of £499 million, $588 million, compared with the monthly average for the 12 months before the invasion in February this year. Russia was the UK's largest supplier of refined oil in 2021, the ONS said. By June, there were no imports of refined oil, crude oil, gas or coal, coke and briquettes from Russia. After 6 months of war, Russia has failed to overrun Ukraine, install a puppet government in Kyiv, or even fully conquer the Luhansk and Donetsk regions in the east. Its pared-back goal. Ukraine's battlefield successes have also forced Moscow to lift a Black Sea blockade of Ukrainian food exports, bringing the assaulted country as much as $30 billion this year. On the other hand, Kyiv is also seemingly unable to score the decisive victory it wants, the reconquest of all the territory Russia has seized since 2014 when it annexed Crimea and backed separatist rebels in Ukraine's east. Ukraine's ambassador to the Vatican has criticized Pope Francis for referring to Daria Dugina, the daughter of prominent Russian ultra-nationalist Alexander Dugin, as an innocent victim of war. Innocents pay for war, Francis said during his general audience on Wednesday, referring to innocents pay for war. In a tweet, Andriy Yurash, Ukraine's ambassador to the Holy See, said the Pope's words were disappointing. How is it / Possible to mention one of the ideologists of Russian imperialism as innocent victim, said Urash, referring to Dugina, who was a public backer of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He also repeated the unproven allegation that Dugina was killed by her own government. U.S. President Joe Biden has announced what he called the disappointing for Ukraine, amounting to about $2.98 billion in weapons and equipment. This will allow Ukraine to acquire air defense systems, artillery systems and munitions, counter-unmanned aerial systems, and radars to ensure it can continue to defend itself over the long term, he said in a statement marking Ukraine's Independence Day. Washington has so far provided about $10.6 billion in military aid to Ukraine. French firm Total Energies has denied a newspaper report which has said gas condensate converted into jet fuel and delivered by a company it co-owns with Russia's Novatek might have supplied Russian army bases. No, Total Energies does not produce kerosene for the Russian army, the company said in a statement. The Le Monde newspaper report was based on energy market data. It said the fuel might have been used at 2 Russian army bases which non-governmental organizations have accused of housing aircraft used to strike civilian targets in Ukraine. Al Jazeera could not independently verify the claims. Local authorities in Kyiv have banned large public events, rallies and other gatherings related to Ukraine's Independence Day amid concerns over possible Russian attacks. However, some appear determined to mark Wednesday's anniversary with shows of personal support for the country and its armed forces. People were pictured attending an exhibition of destroyed Russian military vehicles in the city center, while others were photographed draped in the Ukrainian flag. A man stands next to Ukrainian flags with names of service members, who are in Russian captivity, at Kyiv's Independence Square. Ukrainians gathered to examine an exhibition of destroyed Russian military vehicles in central Kyiv. A boy waves the national flag atop an armored personal carrier at an exhibition of destroyed Russian military vehicles and weapons in the center of Kyiv,